Hello, hello. Well, my new grill arrived. Like I said before, you know, definitely not as nice as a OEM, but I like this one better than that one up there. So, and I got the grill out, not the grill, but the emblem polished up pretty decent. Need to go over it like maybe once more, but overall, that's that. Also got the rear end differential fluid drained and draining. Cleaned off most of the old gasket. Ended up making me one out of some material I had because I don't feel like going anywhere. But yeah, I'm liking it. Got my new parking lights to install and my new side marker lights. Also, man, it's pretty nice out here today. We had like 5-6 inches of snow the other day. And it's like maybe upper 40s right now, maybe low 50s. I say upper 40s, it's not too bad. But it had some other things arrive. So let's open these up and see what they are. I know, do you know? Get my trusty razor blade. Open up some packages here. So, over the course of a couple of years, well, pretty much all my life, I should say, but I've been able to buy, like I said, I wouldn't call myself a purist, but I'm definitely, I just hate throwing good stuff away. Not, like a hoarder, but stuff that can be used. And for people like me, like I love my 2.8s. These days, I used to be huge into the V8 stuff. I've got 2 V8 S10s, and they're nice, decent, I should say. But I don't know. Over the years, it's like these things over 40 years old, and the '93 was the last year of these. And what's that? My math is not great. 30 plus years. So it's like, it's awesome to pop the hood and just see like, whoa, that's like factory. That's the way it was supposed to be. And I get it. I mean, I love horsepower and, ripping second gears and, 9-10 second quarter miles and all that stuff. That's great. But it's like, I don't know. There's something about just cruising and just, I was always into, I guess you could say, like the cosmetic end of it, having your engine nice, it runs great, some billet aluminum in there, looking good. But that's just my style and taste. So when I look around and I see just like, since you can kind of see it, but that '90s theme project I'm doing, a guy gave me that truck for free. He was going to junk it, so I got a 383 that I built. It's just kind of been sitting on the engine stand, and I decided, well, I'll get that truck. It looks pretty straight. It's free. Got the title, clean, all that stuff. And I was thinking, well, I'll throw the 383 in it and go play at the track a little bit, even though the track close to me is already shut down. And I was thinking, yeah, something to play around with, build something over the winter. This was a few years ago. But I was like, yeah, play with it over the winter and whatever. And I got home and I looked at it and I popped the hood and everything was there. Nothing had been monkeyed with, random wires cut, something missing, fender well, not fender well, but the firewall beat in and stuff like that. So I just got looking at it and it would start and run, and I used it when I had my shop built, and I used it to move some stuff on my trailer from a little shed I had. It just ran bad, it had a miss, and come to find out, somebody had, I guess, did a head gasket repair, and they didn't do the valves properly. So two of the valves were very loose. Well, all the valves were off, but two were very loose and just smacking. And they mushroomed the valve stem and destroyed the rock or whatever. But I was going to take it all out and redo it anyway, so it didn't matter. But I was just like, man, like everything is here for this. So I ended up in some videos, I think I've showed it before, that 2.8 sitting over there. You can see over my back, the orange towel is covering it. I ended up just rebuilding it, and it's just a stock engine, but it's just everything is there for it, and I just like that. And it's just, of course, like I said, back in the day, I was all about, man, I'll drive 2 miles an hour and just cruise and creep and just show off, got the bass going, all that stuff. And this truck here that I'm working on now is 93. It's all stock. Everything is there. AC truck. Everything is there. Nothing's been torn off. They haven't even tore off the smog pump and tried to rig that up, or some kind of rigged up belt or something that doesn't work. All the brackets are there. All the wiring is there, and it's just I can't speak on that enough. It's just like awesome. It's like this truck is how it came in '93. And while, like I said, I'm not a true 100% purist, I don't know. It's like I can't explain it. There might be a word for it. I don't know, but did you see what it is? It's just like, man, you get into it fired up and it just runs. It's like my 2.2 over here on the Extreme. Yeah, you could. I mean, I could afford to do it. It wouldn't be a problem. Throw an LS in it, but it's kind of like LS to me. That stuff is awesome. You can't beat it. Like the 5.3s, and I did a LS swap. Well, I shouldn't say swap, but I did put a new engine in my friend's '06, and well, he helped and his son helped, but you know what I mean. But anyway, and that thing's awesome, man. You just put it in there, and of course you're just bolting things back up. You're not really figuring anything out per se, but you put it in there, bolt it up, fire it up, and it's great. That engine stock sitting in like that truck, that thing would be, awesome. But on that same token, that 2.2 only has 156,000 miles. I drove it on a hot rod power tour, zero problems. Yeah, is it weak? Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. It's just it's what you're into and what you like. So, not trying to over-explain, but it's just like, man, that thing it's a 99, and other than like some wheels, tires, roll pan, that's stuff that you could take off and put it back to what this truck was when it was new. And I just like that. Now I love custom stuff too, but that's why I love those big shows, because there's everything going on. But as far as my style, it's just awesome to see it how it's supposed to be. Just like there was a truck I was looking at last year. It sold within hours. It was in Louisiana, and that's like I think 16-hour drive from me. If it wasn't that far away, that would have been sitting in my shop, because it was what I consider to be like a true mini truck. It was like, that truck was built, I believe, in 88, 87, I think it said it was. 2.8 in it, and you pop the hood, and all you see is that like billet stuff, the battery cover, and that's just what I remember when I was a kid wanting this stuff. Yeah, I mean, to go out there and actually in this county where I live, I was one of the first few that had a V8 S10 and was thinking about putting a V8 in one. That's how small this place is. But anyway, I just really like that. You pop the hood, it's just, you're just creeping down the road, or not so much down the road, but you're just creeping around. So you really didn't want the engine and the exhaust to outsound your stereo system. So that was my thing. So, everyone's got what they like, but I just liked it. So anyway, it leads me to this. No stickers. But this right here, look at that, they even cleaned it. Cleaned up pretty decent. This is an AC bracket for a 2.8 S10. And a lot of times, these brackets just get old. It could be, who knows, maybe a bad design, whatever, but a lot of times these little ears will break, or it'll break in, where it's got tension points. And a lot of times people just end up, well, I can't find the bracket, or I'm not gonna worry about finding the bracket, or I'll just discard the AC, rig up a belt, rig something up. And usually that puts, when you rig things up, it puts tension on other parts that shouldn't have that tension. Everything is designed to work how it's supposed to work by design. And I have no problem with that. I've rigged up some things in my day. I've been broke. I slept in my car for months, years ago. I was homeless. So I get it. Sometimes you just have no choice, and you got to get to where you're going to work, whatever it is you need your vehicle. But now I like to kind of take atonement for things I've messed up in the past, maybe. So I get this stuff whenever I can, especially the alternator bracket. That is famous for breaking. But everything's got, your AC is here, then it runs under your idler pulley, then around your alternator, then to your tensioner, whatever, then to the smog pump. But a lot of times when you change direction or pull, it's designed to work how it's designed. And a lot of times you're putting added stress on a spot that's not really, rather than say you're pulling this way, now you're pulling down, and say that's extra stress is doing something like that when it might be beefed up in a certain spot to where, all right, it's pulling this way, it's stronger here, but now it's pulling down, so now you're pulling against maybe a weak spot. That's the best way I can explain it. But anyway, I get this stuff whenever I can. Also, I had a guy ask me yesterday, I made a post about some of this stuff. He was like, how many do you need? Because I also bought a breather for a 2.8. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Do I need it? Maybe not, but I do have quite a few of these trucks. And if I were to wreck one, well, I could kind of repair it. Well, I can repair it myself, but I can also repair it accurately to where it's like, well, I've got to extra this, I've got to extra that. That being said as well, hopefully no wreck ever happens, but knock on wood, even though that's not wood, it's paper, so it's kind of wood. But anyway, if I were to do something like that, then I'd have it to replace what I've messed up. Or when I'm dead and gone, I'd like to think that maybe someone could come to my shop and be like, that guy Mike had a bunch of stuff for those trucks or something. And it would be really awesome to know that somebody was able to finish their truck how they wanted to because of something I kept. And I'm not saying hoarding to where you just got like, it's not like I'm selling it, so it's like, and of course I don't have, but I do have plenty of room, but also I don't like a lot of clutter. But I kind of stick to the main things that I know kind of you see go bad over the years. Like I said, those brackets, you see lots of alternator brackets go bad, and then I've seen people rig them up to work, and then eventually something else might break, the belt squealing because it might be off, whatever. But I just really like that idea that, as a matter of fact, you can see in the back that's the 73. I remember that truck when it was a heap. The guy bought it in 1999. He spent, at that time, I think it was like 40, 50 grand to have it restored to his liking. 454 big block, 4-speed. The bed was custom built for it. Of course, it didn't come like that in 73. There's some things on it, but I don't, like the truck didn't come with a big block. But yeah, if you ran the VIN, it might not, it won't come up as what it's built. But it's still a nice truck, and it's. I like to think that it's living on. I got it in the corner right now. The roads have been terrible with salt and sand and all that, and snow, ice. So it's kind of hibernating per se, I guess you could say, for the winter. So it's extreme. Normally I don't do that kind of stuff really, but I've got other things to drive, and I don't know why get it all messed up if you don't have to. But so anyway, it's nice to have it sitting here and knowing that it does get driven, it does get used. I take it to car shows. I actually got a couple of open trailers. I put my other stuff on it, take up there for the Halloween trunk or treats and whatnot. And I don't know, I just like the idea that it's living on through somebody that is an enthusiast and not just like, hey, well, that's junk. I threw it all away to put the V8 in it or whatever. And that's cool too. Nothing against that at all. Like custom builds, that's friggin' awesome. That's, you know, I mean, you wouldn't want to go to like, well, bouncing around on topics, like the car lot, that's the Chevrolet car lot, that's probably, it's like maybe 45 or so minutes away from me. And I remember before I even had my license going that way, and all you saw were brand new S10s and OBS trucks just sitting out there, brand new. That image is in my mind, and it's like, man, how awesome would it be to, you know, travel back in time, or look at a picture and go into that picture and just to hear that brand new 4.3 fire up, or that brand new 2.5 or 2.8. And it's like a friend of mine back in 92, he had got a 91 S10 with a 2.5 5-speed. I hadn't got my license right yet, and I was just about to get them. And I remember that truck seemed like a rocket to me because it was new. But when he drove it, he definitely drove it like you stole it before that was a popular phrase. But that thing seemed like a rocket to me because it was a brand new truck. And he wrecked it in 93. And you look, and then I've had some 2.5s since then, and it's like, man, these things are like really slow. But on that same token, you know, they got 300,000-400,000 miles, 200,000 miles, wore out, you know, they could use a fresh tune. And yeah, I get it, things you feel nostalgic for aren't really what you remember them to be. But it was a new truck. It ran like a new truck. I mean, it felt new. It smelled fairly new. Everything on it was tight. You shut the door, it shut. It was no like 40-year-old door, 40-year-old gaskets or seals or whatever. So it's just that feeling. For me, it's like nostalgia, I guess. So I can kind of, it just feels good to be like, boom, you start it up, that's what it is. And, but again, I've got the dually over here with the TPI, and I've got another truck over here with a 383 in it. But I don't know, my heart just always goes back to like how it was kind of then. Not a super 100% purist, but just, I don't know, you pop the hood and everything is just where it's supposed to be, and that's what it came as. And to me, my things were like stereos, lowering it down, and just kind of creeping around and just, you know, what's up? And so my thoughts always were, man, with a really loud exhaust. Like the 73, like it's a big block. I don't know the specs on the engine because I bought it off his estate when he passed away back in 2017. And I did a lot of work to it, put a few grand into it to get it. It had good bones, but it's been sitting since 2015. It just needed some things. Brakes, all lines, and carb, and whatever, you know, just things to make it run nice. And she's fairly loud. And I'm thinking, that would like, if I had like of course you wouldn't want to put a system in that. That's just me. But that exhaust is making a statement all by itself. So like loud exhaust, bass, and whatever, to me it's just, I don't know, it's like not my thing. But that's not to say I don't really like that stuff. I love it. It's all awesome. But it's a matter of just what it's supposed to be. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine is doing a truck for Carlisle Nationals, and we went and got it, and it's got had the 2.5 in it, and it truck needs a little bit of work, but not bad overall. Everything for the engine is there. All the bracketry, throttle body, all the wiring is there. Again, I keep going with that. It's like nothing's been cut and rigged up. So he actually took it apart. He just really wants to do that 2.5. And he took it to the machine shop. We drove it up there last week, and the machinist came out, and he knew what it was before he even got to it. He said, oh man, the Iron Duke, where'd you find that? That's kind of rare to find. He said, you found it in a running truck? Wow. So that kind of tells me, and he builds like race cars and things like that. It's just the fact that you see something from a certain era and you're like, oh man, you know, so you kind of just feel good about it. But anyway, kind of rambling on here, but I get this stuff whenever I can. I try to reach out to other people that's got, say, like the 2.8 engine block, heads, stuff like that. Brackets is a big thing. So that's that. So let's see what else we have here. So we have here, ladies and gentlemen, I do this too. Check that out. Trucking Magazine, April 1989. Look at that. That's beautiful. Now, same thing with these. If I see them, I'll buy them. I'll buy one or two. I've got a cabinet back there that has probably a couple thousand magazines in it. And again, they're all in good shape. I keep them, they're secure. Mice can't get in there. I don't really have a problem with mice out here anyway, but I'm sitting here thinking, this right here is from 1999. You cannot buy this. Well, when I say you can't buy it, you're not gonna buy it en masse to where it's like, hey, go to the store, there's 20 of them sitting on the shelf or 10 of them, whatever. Again, when it's my time to go, I would really like that. It's like, this stuff goes forward and other people can enjoy it, other enthusiasts, young people, kind of get someone into this stuff to keep it going, keep it living. It's not even about, a certain era of things or whatever, because everything has its time and dies. That's why you got to enjoy your life and enjoy things now, because you can't say, well, in 10 years when this happens, I'll go back to this. Well, you actually can't, because it's not 1993 anymore, and things have changed, ideologies have changed, people have changed, and it just, you can't relive certain moments, because those moments were not meant to be relived. But it's cool to pass this stuff on to maybe a new generation, different people, and that's like old wheels and stuff that I get too. It's like those old billet wheels. A lot of people, you're thinking, well, I'm gonna move up to 20s, and I remember back in the early 2000s or maybe late 90s, early 2000s, I'm getting a set of 20s. Man, that was, you throwing everything away to get 20s. You're doing whatever you can to keep, that's why the trends are cool, but people tend to throw away good stuff for trends. And say the wheels on that, other sets that I have, they actually command decent dollars these days, because it's like, well, I remember that truck I had 15s with a nice fat tire on it or something like that. And people kind of get lost in trends, and they don't. My thing is, you got to have a plan. Get a plan and execute that plan. And that's why you see so many trucks like these in parts for sale on Marketplace, because, well, I was going to take it apart, I was going to put the V8 in it, I was going to do this, I was going to do that, it was going to be a drag truck. Well, since I did this, I decided to do that. And then a year or two later, maybe 3 years, project truck for sale, make an offer, a couple grand, whatever. And usually they just don't end up moving unless someone's got deep pockets, a place to work on it. And it kind of just doesn't come to fruition. And you end up taking a nice truck like that, pieces, just like this truck behind me. Well, I've got lots of things going on. And my thing is, right now, it's hard to find a painter where I live. It's just hard. It's not hardly any shops. And the ones that are here, it's not so much they got a bad rep, but they kind of just aren't what I'm looking for, if that makes sense. But I've kind of reached out and stuff, and maybe within the year, I was hoping to have it done this year, but or prior to, say, right now, in a shop already going. But it'll happen as it's supposed to happen. But where I'm going with that is, this truck can sit right here. It's not hurting anyone or anybody. It's in a safe place. It's not outside, and it could sit there till I die, and it'll still be in decent shape as it's sitting, because, well, again, it's not in the elements. It's not, mice and cats or raccoons aren't living in it. Trees aren't falling on it, tree limbs, whatever. So it's safe. So that being said, like I said, I got the engine built, all that stuff all ready to go. The frame's clean. It's all lowered. All it needs is a body painted. But not to stray off topic, but again, you see a lot of things go that route. It's like, why not just take that truck right there and drive it and enjoy it? If the engine ever goes, maybe. But if it, why take a perfectly running truck and just take it apart? That's just not my thing. But to pass it on down is exciting to me. I don't have children, so the idea of passing stuff down, or maybe someone coming into this shop and thinking, I bet he has that. I bet whatever. I could finish my project. So yeah, I grab this stuff whenever I can to just kind of, like I said, to have it. I enjoy looking at it. Where I live, there was only a couple of people that had these things, or that style, let's just say. And when you see something like that, anything you see that really just speaks to you and gets in your heart and your soul, you just you want more of it. And so there was only a handful of people that really had that late 80s, 90s flair, I guess you could call it, that style. Maybe Cali style, I would call it almost, because everything kind of came from there. Florida vibe, that kind of, the lower truck cruising through Malibu or something like that. But that's how I looked at it anyway, even though they come from all over. But you tend to equate sunshine, hot girls, lower trucks, music blaring, creeping and cruising. And I'd like you to take this truck right here. Well, obviously, that's probably not some drag truck, obviously, right? And there's some chicks he's talking to, and it's convertible. It's about the style to me. So that's why I do things that I do here lately, because I can afford it more than I could when I was a teen. I remember being on my skateboard and seeing a friend of mine. Well, he wasn't a friend at the time, but I was on my skateboard in the courthouse where I live, and I was waiting. It was a Sunday, and I was waiting for some other friends to show up. I was just creeping around on my skateboard, waiting for their parents to drop them off, and I looked over and I seen this blue Dodge Ram D50, like electric blue, and it just stood out. It had like chrome wagon wheels, lower down, sunroof. And I remember thinking, man, that thing's awesome. What is that? I was like, wonder who that is. Like, that thing's awesome. Because I was into skating, so skating kind of crosses over into that stuff as well, that style, the clothes, the colors. And so I didn't think anything else of it. Then all of a sudden, I looked over and I seen the guy walking out. He had the hat on. I mean, he looked like, he this is cool. He had a white hat on and pink shirt, and got in the truck. And then all of a sudden, I heard the bass drop, and that was it. I was hooked on this stuff. That was it for me. So I didn't even care what was powering the truck. Wouldn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered to me if that was a rat on a wheel in there, pulling it through rubber bands to make the truck go. That mattered nothing to me. The style, the look, it was low. So keep in mind too, where I'm going with that is, so we don't have shops around here, custom shops, suspension shops. So that thing was probably lowered. Some springs were probably cut or whatever. Maybe I'm not familiar with the suspension on them, but whatever the rear is, take some leaf out or whatever to get that desired effect, some blocks or whatever. But he crept out of that parking lot, and the bass was hitting. He was playing LL Cool J, I'm Bad. And I just stared at that thing disappear down the road. And he just crept out that parking lot and just crept up the road. And that thing was just boom. All you heard, that was it for me. So I get that stuff whenever I can. I get old stuff like this whenever I can. Who knows who may want it. Sometimes people don't realize what they like until they see it. And I don't know, it excites me to kind of pass this stuff down like that. Or just keep it alive and just, I also see people aren't really daily driving these things anymore per se, unless they're really into it like myself. I mean, I daily it all the time. But nowadays people got new vehicles, so something like this or like that, whatever, that's not something people are like, well, I got to keep it running. That's my work truck, that's my this. So now when somebody goes and wants to repair it, and I don't know if you've seen prices of these things nowadays, and people just want to kind of relive things. People my age can now go back and pull out the good memories and live those kind of live those memories, excluding all the bad stuff. Like say you're young, you're broke, or going through a breakup, bad family, whatever. To where it's just this stuff was always, or you had kids and you got to put fun things on the back burner for a little while to raise your family. But now you can go back and say, hey, you know what? I can afford to have that truck that I could not have in 1988 or 1992. And that's kind of where I'm at. So whenever I see this stuff, to me, it's like, I can't wait to sit down here in a minute, get me a glass of tea, crank some tunes, and just jam on this thing right here.